even bombed the city theater in which civilians were hiding from the bombs. And the word children was painted on the ground next to the building. Everyone could see that. Those are the words that the Russian pilots could see very well, and still they did not stop from delivering the air strike. Mariupol is almost destroyed, and I'm sure that each of you has already seen by now how the city looks today after the Russian Federation had approached the city. What desolation! That is what Russia has done to our peaceful Mariupol, but also to your peaceful Mariupol. This city has always been home to a large Greek community. Ukrainian Greek community is one of the largest in the world. For centuries, our peoples lived side by side. For centuries, we have been bringing up our children together. We were building our future, and the link between Ukraine and Greece is so ancient that it is already impossible to find its beginning. The Greek city-states on our Black Sea coast, the cultural exchange and trade, and the coexistence of our communities, all of that is already thousands of years of our history. Greek Hespenesses was depicted even on our national currency, on hryvnias. It is with Greece that we connect the development of Christianity not only in our country, but in our region as a whole. And Ukraine is one of the largest Orthodox countries, and the light of baptism was brought by the Greeks. And if someone tried to break the Greek roots in Ukrainian history and culture, we would lose. That means that we would lose a fundamental part of ourselves, just as for you, as this, in fact, very the West that reflect not only our struggle against Russia's attempt to destroy Ukraine. This is part of your identity, which comes from our Odessa, and another southern city of Ukraine, which Russia can try to destroy as well as they have done it to Mariupol. When your foreign minister was last week in Odessa, the city was experiencing the consequences of Russian shelling. Yet another missile attack was launched. Today, Odessa is calm. But why? Only because our armed forces of Ukraine have been capable to hold back Russian attacks and to thwart the barbaric Russian troops from their agreed direction to attack Odessa. The Russian troops have brought death and destruction to the land where for centuries both Ukrainians and Greeks have been enjoying peace and prosperity. Moreover, Russia has started a new deportation of people from southern Ukraine. At least tens of thousands of our citizens have already been taken away to the territory of Russia and to the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine. Those are residents of Mariupol and of other cities and communities that were hit hard by the Russian troops. This is forced relocation of people by Russia, and it is definitely not the first relocation by the Russians, and both Ukrainians and Greeks suffer from such relocation. But the Russian state is doing it now as if the deportation was not to be the last one. Russia is absolutely confident in its invincibility and that they could do whatever they want without going unpunished. We have to stop it. We must bring Russia to justice. We must save Odessa from the same destruction that Mariupol has suffered. We have to find all the people deported by Russia. We have to save at least those in Mariupol who are still alive and who can be saved. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of Greece. Filiki Eteria was created in our desert and it played such a role in the history of your state, which cannot be overestimated. And I call on you now, openly, to create such a new union of friends, which will be able to save Ukrainians and Greeks in the south of Ukraine, which will help Mariupol. This city needs humanitarian aid. The city needs rescue. We need to save people, those who are wounded and still live there. Russia has been blocking Mariupol since the beginning of March on land and on the sea. The Russians do not even allow the basic humanitarian cargo to be delivered to the city. And I'm sure that the strength of Greece will help us to realize the mission. And time matters. And please listen not only to me, listen to the words of two defenders of Mariupol who are right now in the city. They had to wear the mask so as not to show his face, because his parents are in one of the towns that is already occupied by the Russians. I do hope you will understand. So please let us watch the video material.
Kalimera.
Distinguished members of Parliament of the Greek Republic, I'm speaking to you. I'm an ethnic Greek. My name is Mikhail. My grandfather, Victor, was at war with the Nazis in the Second World War. He was 3 times wounded, and now I am at war with the Russian Nazis. I am one of those people who is defending our native city of Mariupol, where I was born, where I was raised, as a member of the Azov regiment. Do I need to tell you about the details of this struggle against the enemy? I don't think it's worth it. This is my duty as a man, as a citizen. But there's one thing that I have to say. It's the catastrophic, inhumane conditions in which the civilians of my city now find themselves. As you know, Mariupol is a part of Greece in Ukraine, in the sense of its cultural origins and ethnic origins. You have always helped the city, and it is thanks to you that it flourished. And today the city has been 90% ruined by the Russian occupiers. As of the 1st of March, we have been cut off from the outside world. There is no water, no food, no medication in the city. What we have in the city is a humanitarian catastrophe. The enemy is bombing peaceful neighborhoods. They are constantly shelling us. They're conducting strikes, airstrikes from the sea. People are dying in their thousands. There's no one to bury them. And these are the bodies of ethnic Greeks as well. Do you understand? My name is Anastas. I'm also an ethnic Greek, and I am one of the defenders of Mariupol. I hope that you will hear me now. Hundreds of people, as we speak, are dying under the rubble. There is no one to help them. But the enemy keeps shelling. We have no chance to save them. What can you do? You can speak. You can speak about Greek people, about small Greek children who've lost their parents and are dying in the rubbles. We have the courage to resist the enemy, and we ask that you have the courage to provide humanitarian help to Mariupol. They are your people too. Help us to save them.
I am grateful to Greece for the humanitarian and defense support given to Ukraine. I'm very grateful for the sanctions that have been imposed by the democratic world, but the war goes on. The city of Mariupol is being destroyed. You have just listened to two heroes. The deportation of people from the territories occupied by the Russian troops continues. I urge you to use your influence and to use your opportunities as a member of the European Union to organize the salvation of Mariupol. I urge you to do more so that Russia started seeking peace and refused even from the dream of subduing Ukraine. because this war which Russia unleashed against us is in fact the war against what has been created both by Ukrainians and Greeks so long ago. What will remain after the Russian artillery and which is at threat? And we cannot say that Mariupol would be a new. They were defending their city. Now we can save our heroes. And also we can repel the Russian troops away from our Ukrainian land. Once and for all, we can teach Russia and any other potential aggressors to understand that those who choose war always lose. Those who try to deprive a country of its independence and its territorial integrity always lose. Those who blackmail Europe with economic and energy crisis always lose. Let us be honest. Since the very beginning, Russia's actions were directed against not only Ukraine, but also Europe as such. And the Russians are doing everything to ensure that Europeans are left without affordable energy and that the energy poverty becomes a new reality on this continent. And Russia is doing all they can to provoke inflation for many people. Russia last year artificially created a deficit on the European gas market, and now they're doing all they can to artificially create a deficit in the world food market. This is a matter of honor for Europeans to answer to such a policy of Russia. And while Russian troops block peaceful cities and deport our people, no Russian bank has the right to earn money in the world financial system. They need to be blocked. Brutal war goes on. No Russian ship should have a possibility of entering any port in the democratic world. Why should we help them so that they make even more money by for producing their missiles and bombs to destroy not only Mariupol but also other Ukrainian cities and forced